Hey there, guys. Hey, Freedom Men. We are here today. Pastor Sterling here, and this is Pastor Kyle Embry. You want to say hey to anybody?
Hey, what's up, guys?
You want to greet your people?
Nah, they already know. They know who Sterling is. They know who Kyle is. We're pretty much fixtures in this community.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
We drive down the road. Everyone's honking and waving all the time.
Right. I do hold the signs out there with the team, and
yes.
So we've had people even put on the cards. I came to Freedom for the first time because of the happy team out front, happy guy that was waving, holding the sign. So anyways, we're here. We're talking about some different things that men go through and trying to encourage some of our men with some godly transformation through their life.
Yes.
And this is something that's not like a video, that's a sermon that's just three to 5 minute kind of topical hit, so you can get this and listen to it. This is more of a podcast that you can listen to while you're driving or getting ready or taking a shower. Maybe not that. But doing something mindless even at work, where you just put this on and you're listening to a few people that you know kind of discuss some different things that mean something. So topics in the future may include different things like anger and stress, contentment, balance, unique thoughts on being a better husband, purity and addiction topics, of course, for men, and much more. But today is really about identity. So Pastor Kyle, you were telling me a little bit about something you read this past week even, and some devotionals that you were reading through. And so I wanted to kind of start with that. I thought that was a great way to talk about identity today.
Yeah, you and I were talking about identity and just kind of what that means and what it looks like. And there's a lot of different streams you can go into.
Yeah.
And for me, when I think about identity, the first word that's next to it is confidence.
Yeah.
Of just having a confidence that I am who I am and no one's going to push me out of that. Yeah. I'm confident in who God made me to be. And I was actually doing devotions one night with my family, and I knew this was the back of our minds, right? And it was unrelated to what the devotional was about. And Isaiah 32, 16, 17 popped up, and I sent it to Sterling on a screenshot and circled it real big. It said, "The result of righteousness will be peace. The effect of righteousness will be a quiet confidence forever." And I just was like, whoa, kids, wait a second. When I look at that word righteousness, we know the root of that is right. So a righteous man, a righteous woman is in right standing with God.
Yeah.
So if I'm righteous, if I'm his righteousness, then I got nothing to worry about. I'm in right. I don't have things in the closet. There's no skeletons. I'm not hiding anything from my wife, from my kids.
That's right.
When I walk in the room, this is all you got.
Yeah.
I am who I am. Yeah. So my righteousness is peace. And I think there's a great connection there.
Yeah.
The women that place, I'm in peace. But then I like the way it finishes. Then the effect of that right standing with God is a quiet confidence forever that I know who I am.
Yeah, and it's really important to know that this confidence is not arrogance. It's an understanding of there's nothing separating you from God. The righteousness, the right standing is you don't have some sort of sin that you're just keeping in the back pocket at all times that you can go back to. It's even not trying to put faith in other things besides God or build time in your life with other things more than God. My mom sometimes used to say, even growing up, are you spending more time with God today than you are doing this? Like watching TV, going outside and riding bikes with my brother, playing video games. Are you doing more with God than you are with that? And so it was kind of an understanding of that right standing gives you confidence that who you are and how you're treating people is beneficial.
And Sterling, there's times in your life you walk into a room and you think, what are people really thinking about me right now? Yeah. I wonder what their thoughts are. What kind of person they think I am.
I never think that.
When I am righteous and I have quiet confidence because of my standing, my identity that we're talking about with him, it doesn't matter what those people say about me. It doesn't matter what they think. I am who I am, and they're either going to like me or we're going to move on and not have a relationship.
And that's tough. Not all personalities feel that way. I certainly know that I want to be that way, but it's hard. I overthink things and I worry, and so it's true. Having this confidence is really good. I had a question with that.
Yeah.
How does having confidence and peace to you in God help you or help us move forward even when you're afraid or we're afraid that we're going to fail? How does having that confidence and trust in God help you move forward?
For me, that's easy. I'd love to hear your opinion on it as well, but we're going to fail.
Yeah.
We are going to mess up. I mean, it's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah. It's going to happen in 15 minutes. So failure can't be the litmus test on whether we're successful or not.
Yeah, that's
Even
true.
Jesus himself knows that we're going to fail. Peter, he said, you're going to deny me 3 times. Yeah. So we're going to fail. It's not an option. Yeah. To me, it's the confidence of standing in failure and still knowing, even though I messed up, I can look at myself when I walk in the door and say with bold confidence, I am a good husband.
Yeah.
But have I failed? Oh, yeah, tons of times. I've done things that I don't want anyone to know about? Can I walk in the room with my 2 kids and demand and say, I'm a great father? Oh, you better believe it. I am, Sterling. I am a great father, but I messed up.
Right.
I've said things to my kids I shouldn't have said. I've acted in a way I shouldn't have acted. I have failed.
Yeah.
But I'm confident in the fact that I've stayed, that I'm their father, that I'm rooted in Christ, and that this is the opportunity I have to live it out.
Yeah, and God's moving you forward.
Yes.
As you continue to be around other people and you continue to learn as a husband and do the best that you can to be in right standing with God and them, then you're moving forward.
Yeah, we're work in progress.
Yes, you're not just letting your failures keep you stagnant.
Yes.
Yeah, and dwelling on those.
And pause. And part of it is too, is being we're talking about being a man, is in that confidence, in that identity, being a big enough man to go and repent.
Yeah.
And cry and say I'm sorry and look my kids straight in the eye and beg for their forgiveness and say I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I want to continue to move forward.
Yeah, and to me, that doesn't hurt your identity. It solidifies it and makes it stronger.
Yeah, and what are some of the things that you think people say to themselves typically when they do slip up and mess up? What are some of the things that people say to keep them stagnant in their own minds, that I'm never going to kind of get better, I'm never going to grow past this? What do you think people typically say? Some of the excuses we may make when we slip up and
I think most people are on a roller coaster, right? And we're not just talking about church people, but we're talking about all people. They're really, really high, and they're also really, really low. So when they make a mistake or they fail, and they feel that their identity is kind of trashed a little bit, then they go extreme. I'm a loser. I'm a failure. I hate myself. I'm no good. My wife will never love me. My kids will never look up to me again. And they go to the opposite extreme, and they stay in the dark. Yeah. And we know what stays in the dark grows. It grows, and it becomes a monster. Yeah, and those thoughts and those feelings just implode, and like they're on steroids. But if you can bring those over into the light, then those things are crushed. And you can look and say, no, I am, like I said, the good father. Yeah. And I have 3 really good friends in my life. And when I have moments like this where I feel like my identity's crushing, my confidence is crushing, I go talk to those friends, those men, and they help bring me over out of darkness into the light. Yeah,
and we're only good because of God, right? I mean, we're not good because of our own nature. We're sinful, we're selfish, but we're only good because of... Is that correct? Would you say that's the case?
Yeah, anything I ever say with bold confidence is only because he said it first.
Right.
I'm not that creative. I'm not that smart, but I'm a great parrot. I will repeat what I've heard. Yeah. And so speaking as a man with identity and confidence, we are good because he's good.
Yeah, and it's really a big deal to me when it comes to peace and confidence. The Lord is the one that's good, but to have peace in my own life, I've learned that my peace and happiness just from my own failures in life have come from my circumstances. So when I'm not confident, when I'm not at peace with myself or with others or with God, it's really because of the circumstances. And sometimes I make peace more about what, and I think about those circumstances, and I think about what I'm doing in my career and how I'm failing in that, or my friendships, how I'm not a good enough friend, or a father, I'm not, and I focus on those things. But really, instead of focusing on what you're doing wrong, it's more who you're doing these things with, what's happening in these circumstances. And I think that's why Matthew 22 has been such an important passage in my life. And it's one that most people that have been around church for a while know, and it's love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it: love your neighbor as yourself. I think at the end of our lives, we're not going to look at each other or look at our family and go, just someone go get me my Nike shoes. I just need one more moment with them to say goodbye. Yeah, my Jordans, or my Air Force Ones or something like that. But it's really about the people, and the ones that are happiest with their circumstances and most at peace are people that are at peace with others in their lives, that are not so worried about the circumstances being failed, but making sure the relationships around them aren't failing. And I think that God knew this was the most important.
Yeah, and I think that verse sums it up, what we've been talking about. Love the Lord God with all your heart. That's that righteousness. That's that confidence. That's that identity. Yeah. But it also says, love your neighbor as yourself and not compare them to yourself.
That's good.
So that yourself there, for me, is the confidence. It's the identity. Myself. Not in comparison game, because comparison will kill you. Certainly you and I have done it as pastors in our lives. Well, this guy's got a bigger church, and this guy's got a better house, and he makes more money than me. And if we live ourselves in comparison, we will fatally die. It's a horrible end. And so I'm in, Sterling, competition with no one except myself.
Well, why do you think that we're rarely satisfied with what we've achieved? Why do you think that we're always wanting to achieve more, and we're rarely ever happy with what we currently are achieving and happy with?
Yeah, I think it's the comparison game.
Yeah.
And social media doesn't help with that. We're constantly comparing. But when God called us, to all of us, whether we're veterinarians or architects or doctors or pastors, he called us into a place of sowing and reaping. And sometimes we're in a season of sowing, and sometimes we're in a season of reaping. And we may be opposite from what our neighbor's doing. We may be sowing while they're reaping. And we're like, man, that's not fair. They're bringing all this crop and all this money and all this crypto. And we're over here in a season of sowing. And yet even it's generational. Sometimes I'm just a part of the bigger plan of God's kingdom. And God may have wanted me to plant a church. Yes. And then the guy 3 generations behind me may be the one to explode the church. And so we don't see the picture like God sees it, but we got to trust that when we said yes to him, that yes was our identity is confidently built in him and his story. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, this is his story, not my story.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter about your hair. It doesn't matter about how you look. It doesn't matter what you've done in your life. It's really not about your story. It is about what God has called you to do. And that's really difficult to wrap your mind around, especially as a man. You want to achieve, you want to provide, you want to be secure and not have a bunch of financial issues or fears. You don't want to have a lot of emotional baggage that you just have left undone with your family or friends. But let me ask, why do you think it's so hard to think of ourselves and see ourselves the way that God sees us? Why is it so hard to focus on what he is asking us to do and begin to focus more on how we view ourselves and how we view success? Why is it so hard to see ourselves the way that God sees us?
Yeah, I think it's because we haven't come to a place of contentment and trust that we are in him. And I am content to know that what he's doing in me can wait. What he's doing in me can thrive and prosper. To me, it's all about contentment. This identity and confidence comes back to a contentment to where I'm saying, all right, I am who I am. Yeah. No one's going to push me around. Yeah. And I'm going to die. I mean, if I died today, I would be happy.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what other people think or say.
Yep.
It's you have learned where you would be content.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're all going to die. And guess what? We're going to be forgotten.
Right.
One of my favorite lines by a guy back in the 1800s, Count Zinzendorf. He said, preach Christ, die, and be forgotten. And we will. We're all just 3 generations from being removed. So I know my identity and confidence is built in just this moment in history, this vapor, this breath that fits into the big puzzle of God's kingdom.
That's hilarious that you say that, because one of my favorite passages of Scripture is Ecclesiastes, and there's a lot of different places, but in chapter 4 it talks about how we're just smoke in the wind, and it's kind of morbid because it's almost like depressing. It's almost, well, then why even try? But it's keeping that healthy perspective of everything that we're doing is really supposed to be eternal. It's supposed to be focused on a bigger purpose than just gaining our own satisfaction with the comparison game and contentment and things like that, which is really hard. So that's a great answer. Let me take a few seconds. We have a few things at the end of this, just a few action items and resources, but let me do something that we didn't plan, and I wanted to just ask you a few rapid fire questions. Let me see if I can come up with a few of these out of this. What are some lies that people believe about their future because of something they've done in the past?
Ooh, lies about the future because of what they've done in the past.
I know it's a lot.
They're never going to be any good, right? They're never going to get that promotion. They're always going to have this dangling over their head, and they can't walk in complete freedom. As God says, I've removed your sin as far as the east is from the west. This can be gone. This day too shall pass.
That's good. Okay, so with a few of these other questions, then what are some ways that you think people typically search for happiness and peace?
People search for happiness and peace.
I don't know. What typical ways? Yeah. I think just honestly, hobbies.
Yeah.
People try to do something new and conquer something to feel as a guy, especially like they are, obtaining a new level of whether it's information with the media and understanding the newest piece of conspiracy or whatever it is, which is sometimes it's good to know what's going on in our world, but finding happiness that you are someone who knows what's happening next, conquering that. Maybe it is being someone who has the next level of promotion or power. And so I think just happiness, for me, it's sometimes that has been kind of the biggest crutch, is trying to find it in things, instead of where it should be with people.
Well, it's
and
kind of like
others.
what we talked about in our program meeting. Every guy has a pacifier, right? We're little babies. You have a pacifier, you get rid of that, but then you move on to something else. And for a lot of people, it's video games.
Right.
And then it becomes golf, or hanging out with your friends, or hiding in the garage, or being outside away from your wife and kids.
Yeah.
All of us have, to some degree, hunting, fishing.
Yeah.
This is a pacifier that people pick up to try to find that place to pacify the real objectives and issues that are in front of them.
Yeah, and I do a lot of premarital counseling with couples, and in that, one thing that I talk about is kind of the understanding of men and women and some of the differences. But just as far as the gender, understanding your wife and your husband, I say to the woman that men like shared experiences. So this is just a weird thing that most people don't put words to, I found, including myself. But I love studying the dynamics of people and even groups of people. So with a couple, men want their wife to do something with them. But it's hard to explain that, because you don't want to tell your wife, I just want you to sit and watch a show with me that I like. I know you kind of like this, but maybe you hate it, but just do this for me. Or go and watch a movie out in a theater with me, or go to this restaurant it's a shared experience that they want together. And sometimes it is as crazy as hunting. But if your wife doesn't want to do that, then you've already learned that and you don't ask. But how much happier would you be if your wife did some of these things with you? And that's a sacrifice on her end. On the flip side, women love to be cherished.
Yes.
So they want you to listen to them. When they get passionate about a topic, you should get passionate about that. And that makes them feel valued, that their passion and excitement. So there's those kinds of things. And I feel like happiness sometimes comes from those dynamics of understanding. Anyway, so I get excited about that kind of stuff.
I think the identity revolves around, the success of it revolves around structure. And understanding kind of the structure of the people that are around us. And I think the people around us help give us that confidence. My wife, my 2 kids, that being a stable environment for 22 years, that gives me there. But I want to key in here real quick on the identity and confidence coming, that knowing, number one, I'm a man of God.
Yeah.
I listen, I love to play golf, but I never lead with an introduction to someone that I meet in Walmart and be, hey, I'm a golfer. No. That's not the end. I love to fish, but I'm not going to walk up to somebody in the mall and say, hey, I'm a fisherman.
Right.
No, my top down is I'm a man of God. I'm a husband to this wonderful woman named Janelle.
Right.
I'm a father. This is the step down. I'm a father to wonderful kids, Mallory and Tyson.
Right.
And then underneath all of those things, I'm an employee at Freedom Church. And then, by the way, little note, I love to golf and I love to fish.
Mm-hmm. But it's easy to get those all swapped.
And men, we struggle with that identity. We lead with, I love race cars. We lead with, I love video games.
The shared experience.
Yes.
How people can understand you. Yes.
Exactly what you said.
Right.
So we're men of God, and everything else trickles down from there.
Yeah, and keeping that priority. So this is really great. Let's wrap this up with a few action steps.
Yes.
We had a few different thoughts, and I want you to kind of go through what you were talking to me about with Psalm 1.
Yeah.
And read that for us if you would, and kind of give us some of your thoughts.
Yeah, I just thought this just describes men. It talks about trees, an oak, and that's what we're called to be, our identity.
Yeah.
Psalms 1, just one of the little scriptures in there says, is like a tree or an oak planted by the streams of water, which we know the water is the nourishment. It's the nutrients that gets into that root system that goes deeper. And listen, I want to be a man of God that lasts more than just one generation.
Yeah.
I want my roots to go so deep, so wide that it impacts generations that aren't even born yet. And it says, so it's like a tree planted by the streams of water. And these are the 3 things it does. It bears fruit. Like, wow.
Right.
So there's going to be produce. Somebody should look at my life and say, man, I want to be like Kyle.
Yeah.
Not what I have, but who I am.
Yeah.
My character, my decisions, my integrity.
People, how you honor God and follow him. Yeah.
It bears fruit. It doesn't wither. That's the second thing, which means
tough.
It doesn't burn out.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away.
It's tough.
It's not in one day and out. I'm not going to go to church for 6 months and then stay out 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm not going to run around on my wife. Like, it bears fruit. It doesn't wither. And then in the end, number 3, it says it prospers.
That's great. That's really great. Did you have anything with the idea of give it all and having no regrets?
Yeah, when I think about identity and confidence, it's just who I am. It's a little bit who you are, and you're developing into that. But it's just being so confident who I am that you can go all out.
Yeah, and that's not easy.
I know.
It really isn't. I mean, there's a lot of fear involved for a lot of people. Some people, they just find themselves getting lazy. And giving it all and giving it a lot of time, it's just hard to find that motivation.
Yep.
It's really hard to trust God with these different things as you give it your all. It's hard to trust God with your decisions and the outcomes of it all. And it's hard, but that's why faith is so important over really fear. Like we've heard a lot during this COVID season, faith over fear, but really in every decision and every action in your life, giving your all really comes down to having faith, even though you can't see the outcome and the ending of the circumstances.
So I say give it all, have no regrets, don't worry what people think about you. I mean, at the end of the day, we all do, if we're being honest. We do really care about what people think.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're going to be okay if not everyone likes you.
Right.
Not everyone's going to be my friend. Not everyone's going to have a picture of me on their pillow, right? Not all of that's going to happen. But I think just in last, before you wrap this up, I think it all comes back down to structure. That my marriage is in a healthy place, that my wife approves of me.
Yeah.
And with that approval, I have the confidence to be in my identity and to give it my all.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, my structure of having a son and a daughter, a family, that they're proud. They know their dad's a crazy bedbug. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they're proud of their dad. And that then, because of the structure that's around you, the people that are around you, the health that's around you, that then gives you the confidence to lead out in your identity.
Yeah. What's a bed bug? Why a bed bug?
Dude, man, you don't have them at your house? Man, I got like 15 million
Why are you a
bed
crazy
bugs,
bed
dude.
bug? What does that mean?
Man. Bed bugs crawling around everywhere.
It means so many weird things. No, but I'm with you, and I think that's really great. Let's just wrap this up and talk about some of the resources that we have. Yes. We've got some different things that we're going to be having in this email that we sent out that you are watching this potentially on. And we'd love for these guys to get some of these resources that we have found and kind of accrued together and said, I think with this topic of identity, contentment, structure in your life, peace, righteousness, these could kind of fit in to help you have a stronger identity, a stronger understanding of who you are and what you're supposed to do as far as following God daily and practically. And how to live at peace with others as well with that. So I'm looking forward to sharing some of those resources. And then we're also going to have more of these podcasts, more of these times together with different people as well, I believe, that we're going to have throughout the year of 2022. And we're really looking forward to what God's doing here at Freedom Church. Thank you, Pastor Kyle, for being a part, sharing all of your thoughts, letting us know a little bit more about you. You're kind of an anomaly, man. You have a lot of funny stories, but then I get to work with you. And I got to say, just so everyone can kind of hear, because it's a moment for me to just kind of share some of the behind the scenes and behind the curtains. You are absolutely dominant with everything that you do. You push forward and you work really, really hard. You move that ball forward in every area of the church, whether it's media or events or even administration type things with all the staff.
Or nursery right now.
Nursery, right? Or anything, kids ministry, youth, young adults, as we're seeing some different changes right now in the church. But across the board, you move that ball forward, but then individually with the staff, you do a really great job of helping us with our own identity. And so thank you really for speaking into some of this today. You've really poured into my life, and I know even before you were at Freedom, you poured into so many incredible leaders that are now on staff at churches, that are serving, that are really working and serving because of the identity that you've helped encourage them and see in their own lives. So thank you for being a part today, and we're glad that you guys were a part as well.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep. Thanks, guys.